This is Friends of the Program, where sports, culture, and creativity collide. From the courts to the boardroom, we dive deep into the game. The music, the movies, the culture, and the moves that shape the world. Whether it's the latest in hoops, hip-hop, classic crime flicks, or the hustle behind the scenes, we've got you covered. Get ready to be inspired, entertained, and motivated. This is more than a podcast. It's our lifestyle.
Yo, what's good, my people? What is good? It's your boy Ness, Friends of the Program, Season 3, Episode 22. I got my boy Rick De La Rosa in the building today. I've known him for a minute, right? Thank you, dog, for making it. I know you're a busy dude. Welcome, man.
Thank you. I'm
Thank
happy
you
to be here.
Yeah, thank you for making it out,
I'm
man.
looking forward to this.
Yeah, man. I knew at some point I had to get you on one of these episodes, bro. And I always see you, man. You're always moving. You're always doing your thing. And we're going to get into that, man, because I know it's important. Let's get into it, man. Talk to me about your upbringing. You know, were you born out here? You born?
Oh man, where we going to start? I mean, how far back are we going here?
However back you want to go, my man.
It's gonna be a long story. No,
I
I was born here in California, in Bellflower. You know where that is at? It's like around Downey, that kind of area, LA. I was born in Bellflower, grew up in Downey till I was about 2 years old, and then we moved to Miami. You know, with all the other crazy Cubans.
Nice.
So my first memories of childhood are in Miami and Florida, and I was there till I was about 6.5, maybe 7. And so a little background: my dad was a missionary and a pastor, so we kind of moved around a lot. He traveled a lot, and so he had started a church out here in California, and that's why we were here. And he always had a passion for missionary work. So we ended up moving to Miami. So when I'm about 7, I just get this crazy news that we're moving to Spain.
Damn.
Yeah. So my dad's passion was in Spain. He just loves Spain, you know. So yeah, man, we're packing up our stuff, and I'm saying bye to all my little friends and my neighborhood and my toys. I couldn't take anything with me, bro. Like one backpack, you know. And so we go off to Spain. We were there. The plan was to live in Spain. That was gonna be the rest of my life. But my dad had some health issues too. He was an older guy. I'm his only son on a third marriage. So he was already at that time he was in his 50s.
Yeah.
You know, and so we moved out to Spain. But 6 months later, he had some health issues. We had to come back to the States. And come back to the States. He didn't make it. Through that. He passed away when I was 9. And then after that, we kind of, you know, I lived with my mom. We bounced around a couple little places, all in LA, Downey. You know, that was like my hometown. We always circled back to Downey. So we were in Downey and grew up there till I was about through middle school. So I'm like my young teens. And it was just us two, you know, me and my grandma. We used to live together. But when I was going to high school, my mom decided to move us out here to the high desert because my cousins, so I'm an only child, but my cousins were all boys and they were all around the same age. So she's like, I don't want you to go to high school out here in LA. Right. I'm gonna take you to live with your cousins.
They were living out here.
They've been out here. Yeah, they had already been out here for, you know, since I think the late 80s. So yeah, we moved out here, did my high school out here, you know. And I've been here since.
What high school?
Little Rock.
Oh, okay.
Little Rock, but we lived in East Palmdale, so it was like you go to Little Rock or you go to Palmdale High.
Right. Yeah, I'm from East Palmdale too. Okay. But when I graduated, I think Little Rock was it was like their first year or something.
Yeah, bro.
So I graduated from Palmdale.
What year did you graduate?
92.
92. Yeah, I'm a little ahead of you, but it was still new, and so you know, Palmdale had a little bit of reputation for being not so great, and then Little Rock was like a little newer.
New school.
Yeah.
It's crazy when you hear people moving, you hear moving from like LA to the AV, right?
Mhm.
Like a lot of my guests, they're from the AV. So they're like, yeah, we lived in LA and then we moved up here.
Yeah.
You went from LA to Miami
Yeah.
and then Miami to Spain.
Yeah.
Like that
That's so
sounds
crazy.
crazy. How crazy was that?
It was
Especially
crazy, bro.
moving
Yeah.
from Miami to Spain.
Yeah. I think I did the math at some point. I think by the time I was 9, I had been on like 27 plane rides. I did 3rd grade in like 3 different schools. It was crazy, man. It was a lot of moving around, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting, but it was cool. You know, I didn't know any of their life, so to me, it wasn't like a big deal. It was just, it is what it is, you know?
Right, right.
But it was cool to settle down a little bit here when we, you know, like I said, I was only child, so it was cool to settle down with some of my cousins and start to like set down some roots and, you know, start
Yeah.
building a life.
How, from what you can remember, like how was Miami? Because Miami's on my bucket list. I've never been, but we want to go.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
and have you been
know,
back?
I have been back. I have been. I hadn't been for a long time, so we left. Obviously, I was pretty young. I loved it. I didn't like the heat necessarily. The
Human?
humidity, bro. Like you take a shower and then like you walk out the door, you're sweating already.
Right.
You're constantly like sweating. I didn't like that part, but it's really cool, man. I went back maybe like 2 years ago. It's the culture, you know, because I'm Cuban, and so it's like I feel at home with the culture.
Right.
Plus, Miami is just a cool town. I mean, nowadays, it's, you know, there's a lot of cool stuff to do
Yeah.
for sure.
Cool, man. So you graduated from Little Rock,
Little Rock,
right? Did you go to
Yep.
college?
I did.
Out
went-
here or?
So I got pretty good grades, man, and I applied to a few schools. It was between UC Berkeley, UC San Diego. You know, I wish I had a better excuse, but I felt like San Diego was a little bit more party school, so I went to San Diego. And
And was it?
well, I didn't get to find out, man. I only lasted 6 months.
Oh, did you?
Because yeah, no, we had a little. It's a long story, man, but we had a little problem with the financial aid, and all this stuff, and I only got to do 1 semester, basically. So after that, I moved back to Downey, because at that time my mom was back in Downey. She left AV to live in Downey.
Damn.
So back to Downey, man. Seriously, literally on the same street. You know, one of my companies is called Brookshire Consulting. Brookshire is the name of a street in Downey, and I swear there's like 6 apartment buildings, and I lived in like 5 of them. You know, so we're back in Downey, and yeah, man, it was a crazy time. I took a little time off, and then they ended up moving back up here, and I ended up going to CSUN, where I got my degree, and that's where I finished my schooling.
What'd you go to school for?
So I wanted to when I went to UCSD, I was an economy major. So I wanted to do accounting, but they didn't have an accounting program, so I did the closest thing possible. When I went to CSUN, I was going to be an accounting major, but then I found out you had to get like pretty high grades on the accounting courses, and at that time I was like, yeah, I think I'm just going to goof off a little bit. So I decided to change my major to marketing. So I graduated with a business administration degree, emphasis in marketing.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're using all of that now, man.
Yeah.
You know? And you said that Berkshire, was it Berkshire?
Yeah.
Is that another one
Berkshire.
of your companies?
Yeah. Berkshire.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's the name of the corporation.
Oh, okay.
You know? Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I like how you know, it takes us back to wherever
For sure.
we're from, and then we
Yeah.
use it.
Yeah.
You know, after high school, after college, at what point did you say, like, man, I need to start something? Like, did you feel like you had that entrepreneurial like spirit in you, or was it something that kind of just fell in your lap, or how did that come about?
I think it's probably a mix of both, man. I mean, I feel like looking back at my childhood, I feel like I did have an entrepreneurial spirit. You know, like as a kid, I did like every variation of a lemonade stand on my block and all that. You know, I conned my mom into doing some stuff with me, you know, just to make a couple bucks. It's always, you know, nothing shady or anything, but I was always trying to sell something. Growing up from there, I was, you know, I remember in elementary school, I would sling like lollipops at school or whatever, you know, go to
Nice.
Costco, get them for whatever, 25 cents, sell them for 50 cents, you know?
Right.
So I always had that, you know, I always enjoyed that aspect of it. But I never really thought like, oh, I want to be a business owner. I want to be an entrepreneur. You know, I always wanted to be something else, whatever it was, and it changed throughout the years. You know, it changes as you grow.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at the end of the day, after I graduated high school, I just kind of just fell into it naturally.
And what was it like? What was your first
So
go at it?
I kind of say this story jokingly because I mean it seemed legit at the time, but so you know my mom's been an accountant for a long time, so she's been doing that for a real long time. So when I after I graduated, I was like, I'll take a job with my mom. I started doing bookkeeping, and I was doing that for maybe like 6 months, you know, like helping her out. And then me, you know, I was like, thanks, Mom. I'm going to start my own bookkeeping company, you know? So I was like, this is cool. I learned everything I need. I'm just going to jump in and do my own thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it started. My first company was a little bookkeeping consulting company.
Okay.
And
I think I want to say you helped us
probably
trademark
yeah,
our name and logo
absolutely.
at one point.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. So my mom's always been super supportive. You know, she's like, cool, whatever I can do to help,
like
go for
competition, no problem.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's like, I don't think she was at, you know, rector. Looking back, I was like, she was probably wasn't too afraid. She's like, it's not competition, you know.
Yeah.
But it was fun, man. It was fun. I linked up with my one of my cousins that's in Thousand Oaks, and he was doing a lot of stuff in the fitness industry. So that ties into where I am now. But he was doing a lot of stuff in the business industry, and we ended up linking together and consulting for a lot of gyms in Southern California, and that was kind of cool. So I probably did the bookkeeping thing for like 3 years.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
That's a like on the two ends of the spectrum, like bookkeeping and then doing the gym thing, right?
It's all over the place.
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
And I think when I met you too, like after that, you were part of the restaurant, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think back at the timeline here.
Yeah, I think because that's when I remember us, you know, visiting the restaurant and you were there. And how was that for you, like that experience with food? And have you always loved to cook, or how did that come about?
So I don't really know how it came about, to be honest, man. I think my whole life is kind of like I'll get an idea and I'll just jump into it. It doesn't always make sense, but yeah, at the time, you know, well, I guess going back, I grew up in a traditional family setting, I guess, to where, you know, mom did all the cooking and everything. I didn't really do any cooking, you know. When I opened the restaurant, I had worked, my first job was at Wiener Schnitzel, and I worked there for about 3 or 4 months. That was the extent of my culinary experience. And I was kind of in a weird place at that time. I had tried a couple things like the bookkeeping and all this stuff, a couple other side businesses and whatnot. And I was in a weird space because I kind of took a step back because, you know, like I said, I jump into things and then entrepreneurship gets a little hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wasn't ready for that. So I had my set of failures, or what in my mind was failures. And so I had decided to take the only job I've had since starting my entrepreneurial career. So I had a job at that time. And I did that for about 2 years, and I started getting that itch again, you know, like, I don't know, I want to do my own thing. So I just decided I wanted to open a restaurant, and it seemed like a cool idea, you know? And at that time I was really into like health and fitness and all this stuff. I was making my own food at home now and all this stuff. And I was like, I could do this. So I just jumped right in.
How was it? Because to me, it seems like to try to open, especially not having the experience, you know, like,
yeah, to
say I want to open a restaurant,
yeah,
and then go through all the hoops to be able to open a restaurant that serves, you know, I think you guys served alcohol too, right?
Yeah.
Like, was it difficult? Like, how was it? Like let's say the first 6 months after
man.
you're there and you've opened.
I was sleeping there every night, but you know, it's like I like that. You know, the challenge, the hustle. Exactly. Mm-hmm. It's like that's what motivates me. And so I've been really good at jumping into things and getting through that hustle part. It doesn't feel difficult to me, but you know, it is definitely challenging. But I like the fact that I'm in an unknown environment and I have to figure it out. And there's pressure to do so because, hey man, I got to pay the bills. The door's going to open in 3 hours or whatever the challenge is of the day.
Right.
You know? It's not the smartest way to start a business.
Yeah,
for sure.
It seems kind of crazy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I you know, I know you and I've known you for some time, but I've never really asked you if you like you love to cook. You know, like is that what made you want to open this restaurant? But it doesn't seem like that was the case.
No, man. You know, I I loved at that time. I started making a few recipes like at home. I tried finding creative ways of making healthy food. Um, and what I loved was sharing my creations with people, right? So I figured a restaurant sounds cool because I can share, and if it's my restaurant, I can come up with whatever I want, and I can share that with people. And food's an easy thing to share. It's like people love food. It's a great environment. There's no real stress around it. So it's like I make something for you. You're gonna have a smile on your face. You're gonna like the experience, so it feels good. And that's what it was. I think I loved sharing my creations with people.
Nice. Yeah, for those that don't know, he was part of Barbacoa, right? The restaurant in Palmdale.
Yep.
Cuban restaurant. And it's still there.
Still there.
Right?
Yeah.
Who's is it your cousin or
my cousin's running it now?
Cousin's
yeah.
running.
Yeah.
And were you in it with him also, right? Back then?
Yeah. So my cousins and I were really, really close. We're like brothers. And he had gone to the military, my cousin Tony, and he was living out of Seattle. And so when I got the idea to start the business, I wasn't financially prepared. I just had an idea of what I wanted to do. And I've always been pretty good at the creative part. So I had the name, I had the business plan, I had all that. I didn't have the money. So I talked to his brother, Danny, and I was like, hey, man, I need some investors. And he's like, hey, I think Tony might have some money set up. He's always been really good at the finance part. Mm-hmm. And so he came in, he bought into the idea. He came in with the majority of the money. And so he was behind the scenes for the first 3 years. I was kind of just running it. And after about like 3 years, I got a little burnt out because restaurant business is rough, man. It's very rough. And at that time, he was moving back to this area, and so he decided to take over.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you were there over 3 years?
Yeah, about 3 years. And then for like a year or so after, I was still kind of involved. And then I was starting FitChow at the same time, which is kind of a whole nother story. But yeah. And then he's been running ever since.
And then how did, getting to your bread and butter, FitChow, how did that come about? And by the way, I've always thought like the name was so dope. And then you created the logo.
Yeah, but you made this shirt.
I did.
How long ago was that?
Yeah, like over 10 years.
Yeah.
I love still looking pretty good.
It's, it's fresh, man. I still have a stack of them. I got some. I have a stack at home that I keep. So
yeah, man.
So I love this color. But
how did FitChow come about, and how did you come up with the name and all that?
So growing up, I was always the chubby kid. I wasn't the fit man model that you see before you now, right? Mm-hmm. That was joking. No, I was a chubby kid, and so after high school, I was like, I'm tired of being fat. I'm tired of being out of shape. So I got really hardcore into fitness and eating healthy. So then fast forward to the restaurant, I'm getting a little burnt out. But at the same time, I'm using the kitchen to just make my own little meal preps and stuff on the side because I was like really hardcore into eating healthy. And so people kept telling people that knew me or would see me eating or whatever, they'd be like, hey, you should just do this for people. Because at that time, like meal prep was getting a little bit more popular. Mm-hmm. There weren't any like big players in the industry yet. It was just like people kind of do it from their home for other people or trainers or whatever. They're like, hey, you should turn this into a business and start selling healthy food. And I was always like, no. Like, I'm busy enough. I don't need to do that or whatever, But it started, brewing in my mind in the background. It was like, maybe, I started feeling that itch. I mean, looking back, I'm pretty much a serial entrepreneur. Like, I just kept bouncing to something new, which isn't the best way to do it.
Right.
But it was what I did. And so I was at that 3-year mark where I'm just like, okay, what's next, So I'm playing around with the idea, and eventually one of the more prominent business owners in the area came up to me, and he's like, hey, I want to eat healthy. Do you think you could make some meals for me on the side for my company? And it was like on a weekly basis. And that was the first time where it was like, hey, this is a good amount of meals. I could probably make a profit doing this. So that was like, I don't know, man. It was probably like on a Thursday or Friday he said that. And I was like, yeah, I could do that. So I took the weekend. I came up with the name, the website, the initial menu, the logo, the whole thing. And by Monday morning, I was making meals in the kitchen. And I just jumped right into it, man. That was just the beginning.
So all it took was that one person to kind of take you over the top and say,
yeah,
you know what,
I was like, you know what?
This.
A lot of people are telling me about this. Maybe I should.
Yeah.
You know, maybe, I don't know. Like,
were you making the meals over at the restaurant?
I was, man. Yeah. So it turned into, it was pretty crazy because we would operate the restaurant and we would close the restaurant, like, you know, depending on the day, between 9 and 11 at night. And as soon as the restaurant closed, I would start prepping. And it got to the point where I was literally prepping orders and everything to the point where the restaurant was opening again the next morning.
Damn.
Yeah.
So it's like nonstop.
Nonstop. And I did that for probably about like a solid year.
Yeah.
Till to the point, and the only reason I left was because I couldn't get everything done by the time the kitchen had to open again. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then and then at what point did you say you were like, man, it's like too much? Did you end up getting your own kitchen or are you still doing it out of there or?
No, yeah. So so I had to go at that point. I was in the transition with my cousin. So I was like, yeah, I could probably leave. He's managing the place or whatever. You know, I am a believer in God and, you know, God drops you blessings when you need them. And so this opportunity came up to use another local kitchen. So I shared a kitchen with another place that wasn't using their kitchen during the day. And then
I think we came by a few times.
It was AVPH, which is like
right on 10th Street or
a nonprofit
yeah,
organization.
that's right.
So they were using their kitchen in like early morning to make meals for people, and then the kitchen would be shut down most of the day. So I'd come in and then use it. And yeah, I mean, at that point I already had like 2 chefs that, you know, were helping me, and yeah, we just kind of grew from there.
How when did you start FitChow?
2016, late 2016.
So it's been over the 3 years. Now it's like,
yeah.
now this is it right now. Like this is your
man,
bread and
yeah,
butter.
we're
now.
almost 10 years, almost 10 years in. We started the restaurant 2013. So that's going on. It's over 10 years now too.
How many meals are you guys making now? Like on a weekly, what is it like?
Average, we do about 10,000 meals a month.
Damn.
Yeah. 10,000 meals a month.
And then your menu, like how often do you guys change it? Or do you guys keep your your staple?
The way that I organized it was like a rotating menu. So we have about 60 total meals. There's like 5 menus and they rotate every 2 weeks. And then we'll interchange and infuse like new stuff that we like into these menus. But it's not like I have to constantly create a new menu all the time.
And when you're creating like a new plate, do you get people involved to try it?
I probably should, but no, I don't.
Just,
the way it happens is so I work at the kitchen, I get hungry. And I just like to try new stuff, man. I'll mix sauces. I'll mix like all sorts of stuff. And every once in a while, I'll mix something and I'll be like, this tastes really good. I'm going to put this on the menu. And I'll just come up with a name, put it on the menu. Sometimes people like it. Sometimes they don't, you know, but that's how I come up with stuff.
Has there ever been like one where you're like, this is going to hit? Right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Man, you're like, what happened? No one's
No,
ordering
for
it.
sure. Yeah, definitely. Especially because I got to get everything like a creative name. But sometimes people don't know what the name means. So they won't buy it, or every once in a while, yeah, people. I'm like, this is gonna be a hit, and then I put it in the store because you got a storefront. We got the storefront now, and then it just kind of like really doesn't sell. But
one thing I like about your product is the packaging, and I think packaging is so important. You go into your location, you've got your coolers there, you've got everything in order. Every single package looks the same. You've got everything labeled. You got it. And I think that's super important, especially when it comes to food, because you order from other places and yeah, it's just, you're getting, the food's good, but you're getting it and you don't know how many grams of this, you don't know this, you don't know any information. But with yours, I think, you've got all that down. And so it makes it easier for someone, I feel like, to continue to buy. Yeah. Because they're looking at exactly what they're consuming.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's a big difference with some other small companies as we were growing. So, and I've always been more interested in the creative aspect of a business. I'm not a very good manager, I would say, but I like to create. So the visual aspect and the buying experience and all this is kind of what's at the forefront of what I'm thinking. So packaging is important, and all those things.
So this is one of those cases where the schooling, this college education of yours is helping you out, right? Because
for sure, man. I think, you always learn things from wrong. But, honestly, school was cool. But I just learned a lot through just hands-on experience. I think I think the college of life is far more valuable to me than going to the actual school, you know?
Yeah. Before you know it, you're 10 years into something.
Yeah.
And you've already learned so much.
Yeah.
You know, where me too, I'm the same way. Like I feel like going to school, yeah, it's cool, but it's just I feel like I would get burnt out. You know, just I want to experience life outside of school.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know?
definitely. School wasn't my favorite. It was not my favorite, but I did learn a few things.
Yeah. So you're over there on Avenue L, right?
Avenue L, yep.
Right next door, there's Crush, the gym. Are you part of that too?
Yeah, so that's the last business I started. Was
Okay.
Crush Fitness.
And how's that going?
It's pretty crazy, man.
It's kind of dope too because they go hand in hand, the meals with the
that was
with
the idea,
exercising.
you know, because you can't just it's good to eat healthy for sure. But if you really want to change your life and you know, you got to work out and eat healthy. And that was kind of the idea with doing that. Plus, I mean, to be honest, I work out pretty religiously and I thought, hey, if I could have my own gym, that would be pretty dope. Mm-hmm. So we started that in 2020, literally like a week before the pandemic shut down.
Damn. So
it's been an uphill battle with that business. But we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're there, same location.
Yeah. And then the equipment's nice. It's new equipment. It's super clean. I've been in there. I've been in there a few times. That Berkshire, right? Is that what is it that you do with that company?
So I've had that corporation since the early days. That was my bookkeeping company. My bookkeeping company was a DBA of that corporation. And I've kept it around because it's, you know, it's near and dear to my heart. And I've started a couple businesses with that corporation. It's currently the corporation that owns the gym facility.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dope. Yeah. Let's so, you know, when I started like last Saturday was 11 years, right, that I started Retro Kings. And you've known me even before that with the freshness, you and your mom with the accounting and everything. But it's been 11 years with the Retro Kings. And, you know, when we put this podcast together, I was like, what makes up Retro Kings, you know? And it really came down to like 5 elements. You know, it's music, movie, sports, art and design, and business. I'm going to ask you a question, you know, in regards to one of those 5 elements. And I just want to see where your mind is at in regards to each one.
Let's do
it. When it comes to working out, right? You got your headphones on.
Yeah.
And you want to go hard. What are you listening to?
Oh man, it depends on the day, you know. I'm not like hardcore on one genre, to be honest. So I'm either listening to like rock, something like rock, not like super hard rock, but you know, something rockish, or I'm listening to like hip hop. So I got 2 different playlists, and they kind of vary a little bit, but it's either like rock oriented or it's like hip hop oriented.
Yeah, nice. Hey, let me ask you something too, man. Like getting into, and this is off the topic, but I just thought about, was it just the fact that you were a chubby kid that made you want to change and eat healthy, or was it a scare, or was it something else, or was there something else, or was it just the chubby part?
It was pure vanity, to be honest. Now in my older age, I see the value in having a healthy life for sure.
And when did you change that? When did you say, you know what, I need to make this change?
Like initially?
Yeah.
Like right after high school or something like that. I mean, honestly, there's not anything deeper than just pure vanity. Like I was a chubby kid at high school, and I was pretty, you know, I've always been kind of introverted, but I had a good amount of friends, but I never got the girls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, dang, I want to be fit. I was entering my 20s, and the mentality is like, I want to look as good as possible for me.
Right.
I started playing sports in high school, and so it's like I started being around more fit people, and I started liking working out. So at that point, I was like, you know what? This is my thing. I want to be fit. So I just got hardcore into it.
That's what's up, man. So yeah, you've been doing it for now, you know, over 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
Man, all right. Movies, right? you're at home chilling. I know you recently got married.
Mm-hmm.
You're with the wifey or you're by yourself. What movie is gonna make you either, like it's gonna make you relax, like it's gonna make you just want to sit there and enjoy, your time for the next 3 hours, or you change it up, whether you get motivated. What movie it does that to you, or what is your all-time favorite movie?
It's been a long time, man. I got the family thing going on now, so the most of the movies I watch are kid-friendly movies.
You have kids? You got kids, right?
Yeah. So I got one daughter. My wife has 2 kids, so we
Okay.
got 3 altogether. My daughter's gonna be 18 this year, so I already been through it. But I try to stay as busy as possible. I don't get to watch a lot of movies, but I do love movies. So let's say the kids are not around. It's just me. I gravitate towards some of the older movies, and I tend to like, Scarface, Rambo kind of stuff, First Blood, getting their manly movies. Like, I mean, I grew up with these things,
Right.
or I tend to gravitate to stuff like Braveheart, inspirational, from another time, those kind of movies. I'm not allowed to watch those movies when I'm around the family. So if I'm with the family, we'll watch something a little, sillier, but I enjoy that too.
Yeah, it's all good. Sports. I know you said you played. You played sports in high school. What was it? What?
So I would say this is one of my biggest, I would say, regret. I wish I was more into sports, because, people ask me like, "Oh, what's your team?" This and that, and it's like I've never really been into sports that way. Which is, it's like I'm pretty competitive. I love to play sports, but I've never really been the type of person to like dive in, like associate myself with a team or get into like the stats and all that.
That's actually kind of good, I think.
I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of times it becomes a topic of conversation, and I'm just like,
I love football.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't have a team.
I love football. I played football all 4 years of high school. And I love football, but I like it. It's kind of like music. I can appreciate every sport for what it is, and I like it, and I enjoy watching it, and I like playing it, but I don't go any deeper than that.
Who do you think's taking the Super Bowl?
I don't even know. What do you think?
I think it's gonna be Kansas City again.
All right.
That's what I think. I don't want him. I don't want him to win.
We'll play this back.
And now right. It's crazy because they're going for a three-peat, right? And I found out Pat Riley, he owns like 9 different trademarks for three-peat, like just the way it's pronounced or the way it's written or whatever. Yeah. So they can't even use it. And if they do, they're gonna have to pay them.
That's funny, man.
And it's crazy because the Lakers had to pay them, right? when they won back to back, like in the the early 2000s, I think. And then there was another team that had to pay them because they used it on merch. They used it, everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, man.
I've always loved football. I think so. Growing up, my cousins were into basketball. I hated playing because they were always better than me. I was not athletic. I was a chubby kid, so I'd go in there and play, mess around. But, kind of like the Jordan mentality, that old mentality where it's just like, you got to practice, you got to be disciplined, you got to get in there and take this serious. Like, I really, identify with that in an entrepreneurial sense, with that mentality.
Right.
And so it's like, or like Kobe or whatever, you hear them talk about it and like, this is not a joke. Like, you see me having fun, but like, how many hours of practice did I put in?
Right.
And that message has always been there. So I appreciate that.
It's the same for business. Like you said, man, it's the same thing. All right. Moving on, art and design, right? I know you designed your logo. Has that always been something that you enjoy doing, sitting in front of a computer, creating art?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that that's one of my passions. That's something I would do for free. And I have, for a lot of people. I wouldn't say I'm a pro or anything, but it's a hobby for sure. I love like I said, I love the creative aspect of a business. So I romanticize like, what's the logo going to look like? What's the store going to look like? What's the paint color on the thing? That's what really draws me. The dream, like the dreamer in me, sees like a vision, and I love to bring it to life.
Right. Damn, that's dope. When it comes to business, right? We're going to have youngsters that might be watching this or listening to this podcast. What's one piece of advice that you can share with them? Maybe they're just now starting their business.
Yeah. I would say from my experience, like I said, I like to jump into a lot of things, and I feel like I could be a lot further in my entrepreneurial career if I wasn't so reactive and I was a little bit more proactive. So what I mean by that is I was a little more prepared, a little bit more prepared, especially nowadays with social media and all this stuff. Like you see the product, right? And it's kind of circling back to the whole idea of like, Jordan or Kobe or whatever. It's like you're seeing the product. You see me killing it on the field or on the court or whatever, but you're not seeing all the reps I put in to get here.
Correct.
And no matter what you do, whether it's business, sports, whatever, it's like you got to put in the reps. You got to put in the reps to get the product, to get to the finish goal.
Right.
And a lot of times you just see the angle. So you put in the time, prepare yourself, be ready.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And it's true. Like, the waking up at 4 a.m., like you don't post that. You don't see that. You only see me scoring 50 points or I'm selling out of, my merch or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you, man. Thanks for sharing. I think that was all 5. Yeah, it's crazy, bro. Like, people, they always ask me like, what is Retro Kings about?
Yeah.
So I knew I had to come up with something. I already know in my head, I already knew like, you've seen it, but, and then that's why I kind of infused it into the show, man.
Yeah. It's awesome.
You're a family man. You got married, what? Last year?
This is my second marriage, and it's been about 2 years now. I've been with her for a little bit longer than that, but married.
Nice,
doing
man.
the family thing.
How do you manage, right, running your different businesses and family? How are you able to manage that?
With difficulty. No,
it is. I mean, you're
it's
not
a
lying.
challenge
You ain't
for
lying,
sure,
yeah.
man. But life is challenging. You want something, it's gonna be challenging. I saw this quote a while back. I think most people have heard it at this point, but it's like you got to choose your heart in life. So it's about what do you want to get, and then it's gonna be hard.
Right.
It's hard to be lazy and have nothing, and it's hard to work hard and get something. So it's like,
it's
hard to be a family man and juggle all that for sure. At this stage of my life, I turned 42 this month. And at this stage of my life, it's a little bit easier for me to find the time for family because I associate a lot more value with that. So I just try to get as much as I can done. And again, it's about priorities too. It's about understanding that you're going to have to make a choice when it comes to your time and how you invest your time, how you invest your money, how you invest your mental energy, Right. And it's about your priorities, So at the end of the day, it's hard, but it's rewarding. For me, I've always been task oriented. I feel like working for something that's bigger than you has become a lot more valuable for me as I got older, And so I like going home and having to do stuff at home and, staying busy in that sense and taking the kids around. I mean, of course, when you're doing it, it's like, oh, I got so much to do. And it's like,
right.
When you're in the moment, it's frustrating for sure. It's hard to find that balance.
But you have a 18-year-old, so you've been able to see. Like I have an 18-year-old, and there is those times when you're like, damn, I got to take them to school. I got to go pick them up.
Yeah.
But when they get older, you get to appreciate that, and I think they appreciate it too when you're there for them.
Yeah.
Because they see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool, man. We're going to jump into this other segment of my show.
Okay.
We like to call Ayo Ness. Where, I told you, like, just the same as you, like, you're introvert. I'm an introvert. And I told you, like, I don't like, now I'm getting used to it, right? But I didn't want to be in front of cameras. I didn't want the bright lights. I didn't like microphones. But this is your chance. This is your opportunity to ask me a question. So I'm going to flip the mic to you. You get to ask me a question.
Okay.
And I'll answer it as truthfully as I can.
Oh man, so many things to ask. No, I mean, I'd be interested because I've known you for a long time, but I wouldn't say that like I know you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, tell me a little bit about what have you learned? Like, let's say that I was coming to you for advice and I would say, hey, can you package your experience into like 3? Let's just do that. 3 quick lessons that you could give me that encompasses everything that you've learned up to this point in your life. What would that be?
Well, all right. So the first one, so this is like a 3-in-1, right?
Yeah, 3-in-1.
Oh, yeah. The first one would be, if I'm starting a business, right? It needs to be, I can't look at it from how much money am I going to make, right? It needs to be something that I truly love to do.
Yeah.
Because I know I could do it for free and I'm just going to enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
Like I've always said, and I think that's why we've been around, almost 20 years now, because I never looked at the money part of it. I always looked at it like, I love this. I love what I'm doing. The money's going to come. Like, and people are going to see it. They're going to know if you're fake. They're going to know if you're real. And I think they've seen that in me where, there's bigger brands that have gone up and they're not even around anymore. Mm-hmm. But here we are and we're still around.
Yep.
And it's because I love what I do. Like I love to design and I love to design around this culture, so that would be one, do something because you love to do it, not because you see Rick doing FitChow. I'm going to go and make some meals that I think are healthy.
Right.
And then I get in the kitchen and I fucking hate it. Right. Like,
right.
Or I have no idea what I'm doing. It's just, you gotta love it. Mm-hmm. That's one. 2, like, don't give up. It's being an entrepreneur is going to be, a roller coaster.
Yeah, like, definitely.
And you've seen it. I'm pretty sure. Like, you're going to have your ups, you're going to have your downs, and you just have to weather the storm, And then 3, I think one hard lesson that I learned in 2013 was priorities, like you were talking about with family. In my mind, and I think as a male, we're always thinking like, I want to work, I need to work, I need to provide for my family. And, when my kids were smaller, all they wanted was my time. But I'm thinking over here, I'm sitting here, I just want to work because I want to give them a better life. Mm-hmm. So I lost a little bit of that time with them because my priorities weren't right, Yep. So I would say keep your priorities, keep them straight, keep them grounded, and then you'll see like all of that together. You'll be able to, make something out of it.
Yeah.
So those would be the top 3 for me.
That's awesome, man. I got a couple more for you, but in line with what you said, it's easy to see it at an older age. You look back and you understand these things, but someone said, life's not a destination. Life is a journey, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's the same thing when you start a business. Like you said, you look at the destination, it's like, oh, somebody's making X amount of money, whatever. I could do that.
Right.
You're thinking about the destination, but you're not thinking about the process and the journey. And if you don't like the process of the journey, you're not going to make it to the destination. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the most important thing for sure. And I think that's something I've come to realize a little bit later on.
Right. And I've seen it. I'm pretty sure you've seen it too. People always ask me, they're like, hey man, can you teach me how to design? And I'm like, I could, but do you really want to? Do you want to sit there for hours? Mm-hmm. They see the finished product. They like, like we were talking earlier, you see the finished product, but you don't see how long it took me to get there. Yeah. Right. Hours in front of this computer, just brainstorming, like just thinking about this. Let me do an outline here. Let me do this. And then you see so are you ready for that? And a lot of times people just see the finished product. They're like, oh, that's kind of dope. I should do something like that. Yeah. And they don't see what it entails. All the work. Yeah. All the work that
it all ties back to what we said about like Jordan and all that stuff. It's all, everything is hard, man. It's a journey. You do have to enjoy that. Otherwise it's not worth it.
Yeah. It's definitely
no amount
of
money is worth.
I've, we've bought used machinery, to print only because people thought it was going to be easy. And then they found out that it wasn't. Yeah. And it just sat there and it's brand new. And now they're going to have to sell it to me for, 80% off of what they purchased it because, they just want it out of there. Yep. So yeah, I've seen it. And yeah, it's just super important, I think, for people to understand, like, especially kids, like, you know, especially kids now, like they want that instant gratification.
Mhm.
They see you and they're like, man, this dude's selling 10,000 meals a month. You know, I could do that. But
Yeah.
are they ready
You
to put in the
can,
work?
but you know,
Yeah. Are you
you
ready
don't
to
know
put
what
in
it
the
took to get here.
right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, I think I answered.
You know what? I got
Oh, you
I got some
another
more
one.
for you, man.
All right.
So I saw the thing up there, and I see this one says the world is yours. So tell me about that.
So, Scarface is my
Yeah.
favorite. My
for
all
sure.
time.
I mean, I see the
And you see this,
for
the
sure.
wall.
Yeah.
Um,
You know, he was
I get-
Cuban, man.
yeah,
Just saying.
I know. Miami,
There you go.
you know, it's the story. It was, to me, it's a dope story. Like him coming with nothing
Mhm.
and making something, like building an empire. And I said it last week too, like, you know, my parents came here from El Salvador, right? With that same mentality. Like, we're going to come out here with nothing and
Yeah.
we're going to make something and we're going to make a better life. Like, they left me there
Mhm.
to come and do this,
Wow.
right? So yeah, so when I first watched that movie, it just, I
It
don't know,
resonated with you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then ever since, bro, like when I'm having like a creative block, you know, I'll turn off the computer, I'll watch a little bit of Scarface, and then I'm
What's
back.
your favorite part?
Man, like,
He's on the like at the balcony, so he's like,
no, you know what part I like? I is the part where he's like looking out the window, right? And then the blimp just goes by and it says the world is yours.
Yeah.
He's just like looking at it like,
It's like, yeah, it is.
it's gonna be,
The world is mine.
you know. And there's a lot of good parts, man. There's a lot of parts, like the eyes, Chico, like
Yeah.
they never lie, you know. And you
Yeah.
could, you know, that's
That's a great
true.
movie,
Like,
man.
yeah, man, it's a great movie, man.
For
It's
sure.
and yeah, that's my all-time favorite. So yeah, like I have so many like Scarface memorabilia.
That's
So
awesome, man.
yeah, man. That's it, right? You got another one? Or
No,
that's
that's
it.
it.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Scarface is my all-time
That's awesome. man.
favorite, man. Let me ask you, man, FitChow, right? Going back to FitChow, where do you see FitChow in 5 years?
I feel like a lot of people ask me like with goals, like as I build these businesses, and I never have an end goal. It's always about how can I be better than I am today. You know, I know that it's good to have an end goal, but sometimes I feel like a goal traps you sometimes, where it's just like, if that's my destination, then I have to head that way. And I've learned that life is crazy, man.
Or like once you
It'll
hit it,
take
then
you-
what?
Yeah, that's
Right.
or life will take you down a different path, but you may not be open to that path because you're trying to head in that direction. And now life's taking you in this direction. And maybe there's something better down that path, you know?
Yeah.
So I've never really had like a 5-year goal for any of my businesses, but I feel like at this point, I feel like I want to get out of the food business, to be honest, man. So I'm not sure that FitChow will be around.
Or sell it. Like
I might sell it.
Like
yeah.
sell it to someone?
Maybe.
Yeah.
You know, maybe. But I'm looking back in my life and I'm like, I've enjoyed everything I've done for the most part, but what parts of everything that I've done would I do for free? You know, like what are the parts that I really enjoyed the most? And I'm trying to like, okay, well, like what's the next stage of my life?
Right.
You know, I want to do something a little different. Plus, I mean, food business is crazy, man. Food costs and like labor costs and like there's
Rules,
so
man.
many
rules and regulations.
Oh man, especially at my level, because at the restaurant level, you're regulated by the county health department. At my level, I'm regulated by county, state, and federal governments.
Damn.
So I got inspectors coming through like all the time, all sorts of regulations. And it's frustrating, you know? And there's just a lot of variables, you know? Beef might be $4 a pound today and $8 a pound tomorrow, and then back to $6. And it's like, how do you watch your profit margins with that, you know? And it's like, how do you make sure, you know, you got to be smart and make sure that your business is going to stay up, you know?
Right.
So it gets stressful, man. So food business is tough. I think industry standard, it's like 5 to 15%, 15 being pretty unlikely, but the profit margins are pretty small.
Damn. And then you guys offer delivery?
Yeah. So we deliver locally ourselves. We got 2 refrigerated vans. We deliver to AV and Santa Clarita areas. And for long, actually, till just recently, we were shipping our meals out UPS. So we started nationwide shipping. It was getting a little too expensive. We cut it back to just California, and recently we just kind of shut it down because shipping costs.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Same
just
thing.
getting crazy, man. Yeah.
Damn. What has been your favorite meal? Like the one that you've made where you're like, damn.
Oh, man. Yeah. Okay. So it's this meal called Memphis Blaze. I came up with the name, and it's literally like our signature ground turkey. And I'm gonna reveal some secrets. You know, our ground turkey is made Cuban style. So we make something called a sofrito, which is basically like peppers, onions, grilled with like garlic and all this stuff, and that's the base of it. And we throw ground turkey on top of it. That's why our ground turkey's pretty good, I would say. I mean, that's what I've heard. So anyway, I took the turkey and I put it on a sweet potato, and then I throw some like a spicy, like a creamy sriracha and some barbecue sauce, like a little sweet and savory. And that's one of the few meals that's been on the menu since day one.
Is that one of your one of your more popular ones?
It's not the best seller, but I keep it around. It's good, but not everybody's into the whole sweet and savory thing, you know. Mm-hmm. There's been one other meal that's the most popular, which is our enchilada lasagna. And people come up all the time. They're like, "Dude, how do you make this? I've tried to make it at home and I just can't replicate it."
Right.
So it's literally like a lasagna, but it's made with enchilada stuff. So it's got the turkey and it's got like tortillas and cheese and all that. And
I try to feel your meals, man. I gotta say, one thing for me, the only thing for me that I don't like, and this might just be me because I'm weird like that or something. I don't like taking something out of the fridge and seeing it cold.
Okay.
You know, and putting it throwing it in the microwave.
Yeah.
Once it's microwaved and everything, then it smells good. It looks good. But let's say if my wife took it out of the fridge and she heated it up for me, or someone did that for me, then okay, cool. But me myself, like taking something out of the fridge,
it's like a huge turn off. You're like, nah,
it's already a turn off.
I'm not touching that.
Yeah, but I've learned I have to get past that. You know, so I'm like, you got to
invent something that heats the food. Like, how do you look?
Yeah. And one thing, like one of my pet peeves, and I don't think you do that, but is when they put everything together and there's like salad or something, and you got to throw that in the microwave. So now you got to take this out.
Stuff that should be cold, but has to be heated.
Right?
No, that's a big no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't do that. I don't like hot tomatoes, hot lettuce, like none of that stuff.
So
that's
kind of weird. I'm proud of you, man, because I've seen FitChow grow. And your website looks amazing. The food looks really good on the website. So you're like, damn, I got to order.
I'll take those pictures.
And then
myself.
You're like, boom, boom, boom. Like before you know it, you're like at $400 and you're like, damn. Like, let me cut back.
It gets expensive for sure. It gets expensive
cut
for
back.
Sure.
But it's the price you pay, right?
Well, it was expensive.
It's the price you pay to live a healthier lifestyle.
For sure.
Either that or you're going to have to pay for it later when you're in the hospital.
Exactly. Choose your hard, right?
That's it.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I think a few years ago it still is kind of expensive, but it was more expensive. Nowadays, it's like,
are you doing anything with eggs? The price of eggs, man. Like,
yeah.
I was talking to one of my boys.
Yeah.
And he was like, he's like, man, I'm eating more shrimp now. I'm not even eating eggs because eggs are more expensive. Yeah, like shrimp is a lot more.
Dude, that's
cheaper.
crazy. We were talking about that recently. I think it was with my mom, man, because in Cuban culture, there's this meal called salvavida, which means like a lifesaver. And it's basically like poor people food. So my family was pretty poor in Cuba. And so what they would get is they would put an egg on top of just rice. That's it. And so growing up from time to time, we'd have it. I like that combo, like a fried egg on top of rice.
Like fried rice.
Yeah. But what's interesting, and this, if you study like cuisine, like food in general, this happens with a lot of cultures and stuff. And so sometimes the food that is like for the poor class becomes more expensive. So at this point, she was making a joke because she's like, dude, like the cheapest food is now like the most expensive food,
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's weird
when you really think
happen.
about it. Like you're looking at eggs and like, damn, $10 for a dozen eggs? Like, shit. Well, shit, man. Listen, we're coming towards the end of the show, man. But before we do that, I want to give you the opportunity to, let the viewers know, let the listeners know where you're
Am I-
located.
Am I allowed to look at the camera?
Yeah, man.
Oh, okay, cool. I wasn't sure, man.
Hey, that one's looking at you right
This
there.
one right
so,
here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man.
But yeah, go for it, man. Let them know your socials and all that.
For sure.
And
for sure.
you know, if you have any deals, I'm pretty sure people are gonna want to try it. So just let them know, man.
Yeah. So our store is on Avenue L. It is close to like where Costco is, but it's across from the Kaiser building. And so we're right there, 604 West Avenue L. You'll see it right as you pull into the shopping center where the front, right in the front, Suite 101. But the gym is there. iCrushFitness.com. iCrushFitness on socials. FitChow on socials. And FitChow.com. Don't forget that one. Specials, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I love to give away stuff, man. So what do you think is fair? What are you gonna give them?
Man, it's up to you, man. I really want them to try it because we've done it. My kids have done it, and they love it.
Let's do 50% off the food if you mention the podcast.
There you go.
Anything you buy on the first day, just don't clean me out.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Hey, and you know what? It's crazy because he does sell out. Like there's been times when I've gone in there in the morning, and I'm like, I want this one. They're like sold out.
Yeah.
This is what we got.
Yeah.
And
The best days to come are Sunday, Monday. We restock every Sunday and Wednesday. So Sunday, Monday, or Wednesday. If you come any other days, there's not a whole lot left.
Yeah, it's true. He sells out, man. This shit is
Or
really
order
good.
online. You could get it delivered straight to your house. It's like, it's super convenient. Get exactly what you want.
Dope, man. Well, hey, man, listen, thank you, my brother, for making it. Yeah, man, I hope, people out there get to try it because it is a different flavor, and I think you're giving it that Cuban touch.
You
know,
do, for
me.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, when I taste it, I could taste the difference.
Yeah.
But thank you, my brother, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you, man.
And good luck in the future. And
Likewise.
if you got to sell it, man, if you got to sell FitChow, man.
Yeah.
I
Hit
hope,
you up or what?
No.
Okay.
But I hope you get what you asked for, man.
Awesome,
But yeah,
Thank
man,
you.
on to the next one, man. Thank you guys. And yeah, man, peace.